Are Spurs running out of options? Could Balogun solve the striker issues? Guys, before we get into today's video, please do me the absolute honour of liking the stream, subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell notification so you know when all of my content is about to drop. I got news regarding players leaving, possibly players coming in, and of course we can't do a video without a little bit of Savinho news, can we, guys? Let's get straight into it. And first off, let's start with the news that this man is going out on loan. Yang Min Hyuk is set to be loaned out to KVC Westerlo this season. Yang has already completed his medical test this morning as full agreement has been found with Spurs. Now, Westerlo, a bit of a club, aren't they, with Tottenham, because we've loaned out Alfie Devine there before. We've loaned out, of course, Vuskovic now. And it seems like it's a good club to loan our players to. Now, Yang is going out on loan now. And listen, it may not mean he comes back and never plays for Spurs again. But just like Vuskovic, just like Devine, we may end up getting good prices for them. So let's see how he does over there. He was never ready to play for Spurs this season, was he? But another winger has left. Solomon also set to join West Ham today. He's had his medical. So two wingers leaving in the space of 24 hours, and Spurs really are short in those attacking areas. Let's go on to another player possibly leaving, and it is, of course, Pape Matar Sarr. And Tottenham have set their price for Pape Matar Sarr as Aston Villa consider a late window move of £30 million. That's a great deal if it is. Villa view the Senegal international as a potential replacement for Yuri Tielemans and are big admirers of the midfielder. However, Spurs are under no pressure to lower their demands. With Sarr tied down until 2030, Brentford and Napoli are also monitoring the situation, raising the possibility of a late bidding battle before the window shuts. So Pape Matar Sarr looks like he will eventually leave Spurs, but I expect this to run right until the end of the window. Spurs will hold out, especially if there's 2 or 3 clubs interested, to try and get the best possible deal. And as much as that's frustrating for us fans, we want players out so we can bring players in. I totally understand it, right? The club have got to get as much money as possible. So we will see what happens with that one. Some news on players returning. Christian Romero, Pedro Porro and Djed Spence are set to return to Tottenham Hotspur this week to meet back up with Roberto De Zerbi and their teammates. That'll be interesting. Will Romero just come straight in, pack his bags and leave again? Maybe the same with Spence, but Pedro Porro, World Cup winner, will be welcomed back with open arms. No doubt about it. Let's get into Spence news. And I brought the news yesterday that he'd been offered to Manchester United. Well, apparently now, Inter Milan are also keen on Djed Spence. Well, they remain keen. Of course, they were earlier on in the window. They still are. Fabrizio Romano has said Inter remain keen on Djed Spence as right wing back, as revealed last night. It depends on deal conditions, as currently seen as too expensive, but Inter remain attentive if Spurs open doors in the upcoming weeks. It's going to be one of those. I think Spence will need a meeting with De Zerbi to find out actually what's going on, because none of us know. But there is a good chance that Djed Spence will be leaving before the window shuts. And Savinho, let's get to Savinho. And this comes out, Savinho agent Rodrigo Zettel is now planning to return from Brazil to England at the end of this week for one last push to try and find an agreement between Tottenham and Man City. Zettel returned to Brazil briefly to enjoy anniversary celebrations. Serious negotiations with Hugo Viana and Viana will continue once Zettel returns. Again, this is another one we should have walked away from weeks ago, in my opinion. But whether we will or not, I don't know. Expect this to go right to the wire. Let's hope Spurs don't get messed around. It feels like we are, guys, doesn't it? And just before I bring you the striker news regarding Balogun, who is, of course, on the thumbnail, Cody Gakpo, that won't go away either. And Tottenham Hotspur target Cody Gakpo is Roberto De Zerbi's first choice. Well, we will see. We've heard that before many times this window with different players. So we will see what happens with Gakpo. My worry is that Liverpool are just about to be taken over. Or I can't remember who exactly is buying it. The Amazon boss, I think, is buying part of Liverpool. Liverpool will be absolutely minted. And maybe they will say, yeah, you can have Gakpo, but he's worth 85 million now. So if Spurs really want him, I think they need to move and move quickly. We will see, guys. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think about all the news so far about Hook going off on loan, about Pape Matar Sarr, of course, Spence and Savinho, if you really want to, and Gakpo. And let's get into news regarding strikers now, because Folarin Balogun is a deal that there is to be done if Tottenham Hotspur want him. Same with Makatatsu and Mateta. Endrick is obviously admired. I think Endrick wants Champions League football. I don't see that happening. But guys, Mikatatsu, Balogun, Mateta, would you take any of them? I think Balogun is an interesting choice, right? He's a player that is obtainable. We could get him quite comfortably, I feel. Wouldn't cost the earth either. And he does score goals. If we look at his career quickly, his career is as follows. Look, 268 appearances with 136 goals. That's not bad, is it? I think it's like 175 GA in 268 games. That's over a goal or an assist every other game. It's a pretty good record, and I don't think he'd do too badly. Really good movement. Of course, he played in the Premier League, kind of, with Arsenal. And last season, his record is as follows: 43 appearances with 24 GA. Again, is a goal or an assist every other game, slightly better. Not the best goal scoring record, I have to say, with 13 league goals in 30. But there is a player there. Is he better than what we have? I think so. But we're getting to that point, guys, aren't we? We are getting to that point where we are literally 3 weeks before the window shuts. We have done nothing in those attacking areas. As fans, clearly we are getting a little stressed. As much as we want to stay calm, as much as I'm reasonably calm, I am starting to think we can't go into the season with Richarlison and Solanke, surely. Surely we are not going to do all this work in the midfield and the defence, and we're going to leave the attack woefully short. But with every day that passes, I'm kind of thinking we might. So for me, Balogun, I think it's a good option. Let me know what you think in the comments. If I had the choice, of course, I would go top for Osherman. But if I had the choice personally, I really like Mikatatsu. He's the kind of player that I think is really good on the eye as well. But guys, let me know what you think in the comments about Balogun, about any of the other strikers, Mateta, Mikatatsu, and of course, the players linked and the players possibly leaving. I will leave it there, guys. Have a fantastic rest of the day. And as always, come on, you Spurs.